Head over to miniaturemarket.com where they have thousands of board games at discounted prices, and you can sign up for product alerts. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. It's time for the biggest time of year, the 101 best games of all time. According to me, I actually came out with that video just last week, but this is gonna be debunking Dan's top 100 list because I am joined today by my friend,
Greg Dickson. Thanks for having me.
Great to be here. I know people have seen you on the channel before.
Yeah, it's been a little bit, but I'm glad to be back.
We've done like a lot of
playthroughs,
Seven Wonders Duel and some others.
Yeah.
So for those of you out there, Greg probably knows my taste in games more than anybody because he's been with me since I started my channel 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And so he knows my taste really well. So it's gonna be fun to see what he thinks of my picks. He's gonna poke holes through the picks. And we're gonna find out, where I'm wrong. I'm sure he's gonna tell us.
Hey, it's your picks. You're not wrong. I could just, disagree a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. So, and we're gonna maybe try to see if he can guess some of these as we give him descriptions and such. So, if you've already, by the way, we're recording this to the point where he has not seen the video that's come out before this, so he doesn't know what I've picked. We've done this on purpose so we can get like sort of a live reaction on him and see what he thinks.
Yep. I'm excited to see it.
All right. Without further ado, let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, so 101, first game. First game on the list, and because it's the first game.
Or the last.
Or the last. But in this video, it's the first.
Yeah.
So naturally speaking, this game has first in the title. It's a short little filler game. That is you don't necessarily want to win.
Wait. What is that game called? I know which one this is.
You do.
You love this game. Why first?
Oh, look at that. He got
Why
it,
first?
folks. Let's see.
First thing I thought of was First Class. And I was like, I don't even know if Dan's played First Class.
Yep.
Yeah. Why first?
Why first? If we can get, there we go. Why first is my 101 best game of all time. Do you even like this game?
Yeah, I love this game.
Oh, you do?
This is your go-to end of the night. We've just played something bigger, and we're like, we don't want to go to sleep yet. Like, we don't want to like break up the party. You always bust out Why first.
Yeah. Or the first game of the night.
Yeah. But more often, it seems like it just
Although with the name, we probably should bring it out first.
But why first? Why not
exactly.
last?
No, right? Don't you think?
You want to talk about this one a little bit? I guess you have in your other video.
Yeah, so I've already done the video where I've talked about each of these games in depth. There's a link to that in the description of the video. We'll put the little eye at the top of the screen. You can click on that. So if you don't know what these games are, this video is sort of like like a sequel to the first video of the 101, where I go through and explain all these games really quickly in a minute. So if you want to know more about these, about how they play as opposed to our banter, go ahead to that video first before you watch this one.
So of all the quick little filler games, why this one? Why did this one make the cut over so many? I mean, there's so many games
because it's so memorable.
Like this.
It's so memorable.
Yeah.
It's just one of those games that at the end of the night you'll remember the fun and laughing you had with it.
Yeah.
And you like this one.
And then you're in the lead and you're like, crap, I don't want to be in the lead.
Right. But you approve of this one, I guess, huh?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's your list. I don't know if it'd be on my top 100, but I always enjoy it when it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right, well, there's 101. All right, so number 100. We're going to be getting that 100. We'll put it up here once you guess it. This is, you're like, I can guess that tune in one note. Remember that game? Guess
Yeah, of course. Name that game with Dan King.
You're going to guess this game in 3 words.
Okay. I'm nervous I'm going to screw up now.
Best icebreaker ever.
Best icebreaker ever. I'm afraid I'm going to be wrong. Happy Salmon?
There you go.
You got it.
You
I got it. Nice.
I mean, it has to be on this list.
Yes.
It's again memorable. We're starting this with 2 light games, but these are some of the most memorable light games.
And with the Bluefish, you could play anywhere from 3 to 12 players.
Yes.
You pull it out with any group. You can play it with children. I've literally played it with like 4 and 5-year-olds, or with like grandmas and grandpas.
And actually, if you watch the previous video we just talked about where I explain all these games, I actually show our 12-player playthrough as I'm describing it. You got to watch it. Actually, you're in both of those, I think.
Am I?
We had a regular playing one.
I remember we did one a while ago.
Yeah.
When the game was new. But I've played this before with 12 players with like my windows open because we have a lot of people over and it's hot.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what are the neighbors thinking of us screaming, switcheroo, switcheroo? top of our lungs.
That is funny you say that, because a little later, we're going to talk about another game that we were up at 2 a.m. screaming at.
I think I know. I think I know.
Crap. Oh, no, I gave it away. Yeah, so do you remember how when we knew this game was going to be like, no, this wasn't just a fad, that this was going to be a game that was going to be around forever? Do you remember?
I don't know exactly what you're referring to.
It was when you would come to the door and I'd go, happy salmon to you, happy salmon to you, sir.
It was like our greeting amongst our
It was
game
the
group.
gamer greeting where we'd be like, happy salmon to you. And once this became a greeting,
Yes,
we knew it
yes.
was like something special.
Yes, if you play with 12, though, I recommend play the silent version. Just save your eardrums.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you guessed it and you kind of agree, so there
Oh,
you go.
I love Happy Salmon. I played Happy Salmon at conventions and irritated everyone playing 3-hour, thinky
gosh.
Euros around us.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure people have made some snide comments about
Yeah.
my table playing Happy Salmon.
They
at
have to have a
convention.
separate happy salmon room at
They
conventions.
Do. They do.
Yeah.
They have the quiet room. They need the loud room.
If you're playing any other game other than Happy Salmon, you will hate Happy Salmon.
Yes, exactly.
If you're playing Happy Salmon or watching Happy Salmon, you will love Happy Salmon.
Don't play colonists at the table next to it.
But there you go, number 100. All right, number 99 is one of the earliest hidden movement games in the history of Earth that we know of, but it has a mass market theme.
Yes, this is the Museum Caper.
Look at this.
Yes.
And I swear to God, he has no idea what's on my list.
No, you didn't
like
tell him
that's
anything.
really. We're gonna show off your game knowledge to the world.
And my Dan knowledge, because
Well-
we've been, like you said, we've been gaming together for 8 years. So
Yeah.
a lot of game talks without the cameras on.
What do you think of this one making the top 100 games of all time? It's the best Clue ever
Yes, it is the best
because
Clue.
it has nothing to do with Clue.
No, it
Except that
doesn't.
Colonel Mustard happens to
doesn't.
have wandered into a museum.
It's also one of the quickest, fastest, most streamlined hidden movement games. I mean, there's other ones I might like better, which could be later on the list. I don't know. But this is the one that you can teach the most people and pull it out and play it. And everyone's familiar with the theme already, which is a plus. Like you said, it's mass market. And then on top of that, it's just mechanically kind of the simplest and lightest and quickest.
Do you have this one?
Yes, I do. I haven't pulled it out in a
I
while.
bought mine off eBay. What about you? Because it was from 90. I looked it up afterwards.
Yeah.
I said in the last week's video when I talked about this, I couldn't
yeah.
remember if this came out before Scotland Yard, and Scotland Yard was like 7. Like this came out in '93, I think. So it was
I think Scotland Yard's older.
yeah, it is a lot.
I think
older.
Scotland Yard's like late
this is
70s.
old.
Because Scotland Yard won the STJ, didn't it? The year it came out.
Yeah, it did.
Way back.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't have that
Yeah.
memorized.
But this is sort of an older light game. But again, it's because it's a special sort of a grill game for some people.
Yeah.
And they'd love to get their
I
hands
don't
on
remember how I got a copy of it. I think it was at like some random flea market or eBay or someplace like that.
I've been trying to get Restoration Games to reprint this game.
Oh, this would be a great one.
And
for
they
them
said
to
it was one of
tackle.
the first they attempted to, but there's too many complexities around who owns the license.
Yeah, I
and
can
this
see
and
that because it's such a big IP.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's other ones I think I like better. Like if I was
You
to
mean
make,
hidden movement?
Yeah, other hidden movement games.
You know there's going to be other hidden movement games on here.
I would be shocked if there wasn't. Knowing you,
Right.
you like this genre a lot.
I do. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Other
yeah.
than negotiation and
Deduction.
deduction. But it kind of, hidden movement is
Yeah,
deduction
it
for
has an
half the
element
people.
of it.
Right?
It's almost kind of the nice bridge between deduction and social deduction.
It is.
Because
yeah.
you do kind of have to read your opponent or opponents and got to get a feel for what you think they might do. But at the same time, the real discovery is just like straight up deduction. Just like where could they actually be, figuring out those spots, and then kind of bringing in the social element to kind of pare it down from there.
We both love both of those genres, so this makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
Number
social
99?
deduction for me. yeah.
Clue, the Great Museum Caper.
Yeah, good choice.
All right, number 98, and I'm trying to think of a way to hint him on to this
Designer name.
without just giving it away. I really just don't know. This is, I'm just gonna have to give it away. It's one of your favorite economic games that has ginormous pieces.
That's ginormous. Oh, container. Container. I mean, just ginormous pieces. I would know which one you were talking about.
Yeah, true. True. Container.
Container's great. I wish I would have jumped on this 10th anniversary edition when it was available because, like a lot of these, actually, like except for maybe Happy Salmon, a lot of the ones you've mentioned so far already are hard to get, and this is one of them. You see this on the BGG marketplace, but it's like
Yeah.
$150, $250.
Yeah,
or
actually,
whatever.
other than Happy Salmon, Happy Sim is the only one that's still in print.
Yeah,
out of
the
all
rest of these are all hard to get.
You'd have to buy in secondary market with a lot of money.
Hey, fans of the Game Boy Geek, here's the top 100 you can't get for your own collection.
Yeah, I know, but in almost all my other lists, I recently did that series, the best games that I forgot I loved. But and like in that series, I make sure the games are in print. If they're not in print, they're going to go to another series that I'm creating called the Resurrection games, or the ones that need to be reprinted. But how could you even find 100 games that you love that are still in print? Like it would just shrink it down.
Well, and ultimately,
so much.
that's the whole point of this. What do you actually like? You're not trying to pimp out a certain company or whatever. You are just telling us like it is what you love. Container is one I'm dying to play again. I love it. I wish it played 2. If it played 2,
not a lot of economic. Name one economic game that does play well with 2. Okay, Happy Pigs.
Happy Pigs, yes, which also goes all the way
but you said Smartphone Inc. doesn't play that well with 2.
Well, with the new smaller map,
with
it
the
works
expansion.
better at 2. Yeah. Smartphone Inc. Yeah, it's definitely one. But look, I'm sure it would. There's no way they could have tweaked it so it would have been as good with 2 as it is with 3 or 4. I'm just saying that's why I didn't pull the trigger, because I play with 2 the most. And now I'm kind of kicking myself.
By the way, if you like Greg, comment that you do, because if you like him enough, we might think about having him do his top 100 after this, and then I'll come on and debunk his list.
The better top 100.
And if so, I guarantee you this will be a lot higher up on his list than it is on mine. But I wanted to make sure it actually made. Actually, these last 10 were the hardest ones, because there were so many that I wanted to get on the list somewhere.
I could see that.
It was the worst. If you've ever made one of these lists, it's the worst thing you ever do.
Well, because you have that game, that 102, that you love so much.
I know.
And if I asked you next week, you'd be like, actually, I think that one's 101. But when you're making it, you have to make these tough calls.
Yep.
And sometimes the few that you leave off that almost made the list, you feel like equally to the ones you actually put on the list.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm kind of in the process, just because I knew we'd be recording these, of kind of putting it together myself. And I've done it before, and it's tricky.
It's hard.
Because there's times where there's games too that you've only played a few times, and you think it feels like top 100 material, but you might put it in a place of some other game you really love that you played 20 times.
Well, a little bit later on, we're going to be talking about games that were like super high on my list just until a couple weeks ago, and we recently played them, and they dropped quite a bit.
Oh, interesting.
And some actually that we played a couple weeks ago actually moved up.
Yeah.
And so
that's why
it's like the day I made the list, and tomorrow it changes.
That's why I'm always hesitant to put a game on a list like this that I've only played a few times.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's not until the 4th or 5th play that you start to see the holes in the game, or its weak spots or whatever. And so it's hard, because sometimes those first few plays you get really captivated by a game.
Yeah.
And then it takes another couple plays before you go, actually, no, I don't like this one that much. There's something about it I don't like or whatever. So. All right.
You love this one. 98
I love
Container for Jumbo Edition.
I'm not debunking anything here.
Not yet.
I'm loving everything.
I know. This is bad.
This is why we game together, because we have a lot of similar tastes.
He's going to have to debunk at least one on the list. So this is false advertising. Okay, if you thought it was false advertising, he was going to debunk my list on the last handful that he's actually also liked. And when I said debunk, I really actually was thinking, like, he'll think something's much higher or much lower than I have it. And because we do have very similar tastes in gaming.
There's a few areas that we diverge, but there's so much
you like
that
deck
we have
building,
in common.
I don't. You don't
You're
mind.
obsessed with deduction. I'll take it if it's really, a special case.
Yeah, but other than those two things, we kind of like everything the same.
Yeah, there's been a few things where we diverge. But you're right.
So the reason why I bring that up now is because actually he might debunk this, because this is going to be so much higher on his list. So much higher. This is a classic by one of the best known game designers ever, and the game is older than both of us.
Older than both of us.
And it's an economic game.
Oh, Acquire. I think I was getting close to it before you said economic, and then I knew.
This is kind of fun. It'd be fun to listen to see if you comment in the video below, like if you're able to guess any of these as fast as he is, because we've played so many things together.
Well,
and it's like, would you have gotten that? Joe Schmo out there that I just said older game, great designer, economic. Would you just have come up with Acquire?
Well, when you say older than us, I mean that cuts out
a lot.
95% of the games we play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, probably.
So that instantly just narrows it down to such a few, and
we just played this like 2 weeks ago.
It's funny because we did, and it was great. I still love this game.
It's still a tad too. If it wasn't a tad too long, and if there weren't like a couple of 2 or 3 rounds during the game where it kind of slows down, it would be so much higher, I think.
I think for me, obviously with me, and this spoiler alert will definitely be on my top 100 if we do that. This game, I have so much nostalgia attached to it, and the fact that it continues to reprint, it continues to entertain, people continue to still enjoy it literally 60 years after it was designed. We're coming up on almost 60 years.
Yeah.
Is incredible.
Yeah, the fact that he was so ahead of his game in every game he did.
Sid Sackson.
Yeah, like Sid Sackson. Like, he was so far. We were talking about this the other day, like, could you imagine the games that Sid would be coming out today if he lived in this modern day? Because he was doing stuff in the 60s that still
holds up,
beats out most games.
I think if he was exposed to some of the modern mechanics and things that we're using today, like what would Sid Sackson's deck builder look like?
Oh my gosh,
I would love to play that.
Yeah.
You know, or just take any worker placement, take any popular genre. Because a lot of his were economic games or abstract games. Or sort of spatial kind of games.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was no worker placement to build off of, or social deduction to work off of. Those things kind of weren't invented yet.
Yeah.
Role playing games weren't invented yet. Deck builders. There's so many things that he that weren't in his sort of sphere to sort of be inspired by.
Yeah, and I don't think enough people that are recently getting in the hobby know enough about him.
Yeah, and he's the grandpa of modern games.
Yeah, some people call him the grandfather of game design or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's apt.
And spoiler alert, later this year you might be hearing some announcements of some cool Sid Sackson things coming out that I've been involved with, and even Greg behind the scenes.
Nice.
So that's about all I can say legally. So
that's all we could say. That's all we could say.
So there you go. Acquire number 97.
Good choice.
All right, number 96. Let me give a general clue, and then I'll get one that I know that he'll guess it with. Because I want you guys to play along, because a lot of these have been inside jokes. This one is done by one of the most well-known designers in the history of board gaming. And he typically does big, sort of crunchy Euros, but this is sort of like a skirmish game for him.
I know what this is.
Oh, see, I didn't even have to give you the personal clue. Do you guys know what this is? You know what?
Is it Wildlands?
This is, I swear he has no idea. He does, we are sitting in a game room where there are about 400 games sitting around.
Yeah, they're in the shadows. I can't see them.
Yeah, but he also knows what's on my shelves.
Yeah,
that helps.
and I love Wildlands. This is one that I think you introduced to me.
I did.
Yeah, and my wife and I ran with this one. We've played this a bunch. We got like extra boards.
Did you play this one with two?
Yeah, it's great at
Still
two.
works well. This is one of the few.
Great at
How
two.
many like dudes on a map
at
style games work well at two, other than Ankh that we just reviewed?
Yeah, Ankh does maybe best at two, but this one, this one might be best at two as well.
You think?
Well, because it's just okay. It depends on what you're looking for. Do you want that meta table above the talk of where you're trying to talk people into helping you gang up on someone or not, or do you want just that straightforward? I know exactly what my objective is: kill the other person, grab the points. So for me, I like this. I like it at two because it's just in your face. You know exactly what to do, who your target is. There's no like, should I go after that person? It's just a fast, straightforward, fast-paced, quick.
You have a bunch of expansions for this, don't you?
A little bit, yeah. We got a couple of different boards.
Yeah.
There's one that's kind of like a haunted mansion. Some of the art in the boards is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
There's like little hidden details and stuff.
Yeah, this one is not a style of game I ever really like. But for some reason, I feel like because this one's more of a card hand management game than anything.
Yeah.
Sure, you're doing stuff on the board, that's how you win, but it's really a card game.
Yeah, and there's no dice chucking.
No.
There's very little randomness. It's very strategic in how you set up. It's strategic on how you manage those
little
cards.
known fact about this game.
Yeah.
I've never won, ever. And you know why? Because every time, since the first time I've played it, I've played the same stupid faction with the little short guy. I've never seen anyone win with that faction.
Is that the tripod guy?
Yes. And I've never seen anyone win with that guy. And I am determined to win with that faction, so I won't pick anyone else, and I've never come close to winning.
So pro tip for people watching this, don't play that faction, apparently.
Don't play the one with the little guy with the rocket. You'll never win.
But hey, if you like this game that much and you've never won, that's just a testament to how good the game is.
It is, but I can't, now I'm dead. I will never, no, I'll never play another faction now. Because I'm so adamant to because now if I pick another faction and I win, I'd be like, well, that was easy.
I like it. You're challenging yourself.
So next time you play with Stephanie, I want you to try that.
Try that crappy faction.
They're the ones with the C-3PO
What's
looking
good
guy.
about them? There's something good about that
the
faction.
The C-3PO looking guy plays the one with the flag where he can bring people with him.
Okay.
And the little guy he can like shoot really far and he's really good, but he only has he's really low health. So like you could do a lot of damage on him, but he gets killed really easily.
They do a lot of the like explosions, whatever that thing's called in this game, where you can like attack everyone in a space or something.
They suck. Or I suck. One or the other.
Either way, you like the game.
Yeah, it's great.
It's always close though, right?
Not with I'm not
Really? Really?
Maybe for you.
It feels like to me someone will surge ahead, but before they get to the 5 points or whatever, the other person usually gets to like 3 or 4 and is within striking distance before that.
Well, everyone that doesn't play that faction might be close. Yes. I don't know. It's a great game though.
It's a great game. I feel like there's been a lot of expansions for it. So clearly there's an audience.
There's 2 faction expansions. I looked earlier today because I was talking.
There's a bunch of boards.
There's at least 2 boards, and they're both double-sided.
Yeah, but it feels weirdly underrated despite the fact that it continues to be supported.
It's pretty high. When I looked this morning on Board Game Geek, it was I think like around 200. Like it's pretty high.
200?
Maybe that's
of all time.
Maybe it's 300. It was high.
That's higher than I would expect because I feel like I don't hear anyone talking about it.
All right, we're gonna look and we'll get right back to it.
Great choice.
All right.
Okay, folks. Through the magic of editing, we checked. He was way off. We should have like a little pop-up video. Remember pop-up video? Like Dan was wrong. It's actually 908.
908. I knew it was under 1,000, but I did look at like 4 or 5 of these this morning, so I probably got.
When there's
you know what?
40,000 games on there. 908's pretty dang good, actually.
Yeah, actually, Acquire was the highest one on this list, I think. BGG
That's in the top 200 or 300, if I had to guess.
That was probably the one I was thinking of because that was the last one I looked up.
But it's also had 60 years to get ratings. You know, people were going on BGG in 1969.
All right, number 95 is from one of the most well-known designers ever that we both love.
I feel like you say that about a lot of these designers.
It is. And, well, there's a reason why they're on the list, right?
Yeah, of course.
This is a re-implementation that came out a few years ago of a very popular game that used to be super high, at least in the top 10 on Board Game Geek. And it's about, the original game was like about a place. Kind of.
Ooh, okay. I'm thinking of something, but it doesn't feel like your pick. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so this...
The Kinesia?
It is. What's a recent...
is it Tigris and Euphrates? Or Yellow and Yangtze?
He got it.
Why you like this one this much?
I love it.
I need to play this one more. I liked it.
It's got ingenious scoring, which is Kinesia scoring, as people know.
Well, that was part of Tigris and Euphrates, too.
Right, yeah.
So you have to be diverse. You can't just be like, I'm going to pick this one path, do this the whole game, and try to win with it.
Yeah, so in Kinesia scoring, like in Ingenious and stuff, you score different colors, and your lowest score of all those colors is your score. And he uses it in so many games, and now so many people use that. Yeah. And anytime you're playing a game, you're like, hey, do this, and then, this score's like, this is Kinesia scoring. You just call it Kinesia scoring.
Yeah. This is a good choice. It's one I need to play more.
Oh, I love it.
I would hesitate putting it on top 100 because I've probably only played it 3 or 4 times.
I love this game.
Yeah, well, I'm all for it because I used to play Tigris and Euphrates a lot. And this is a re-implementation of it, kind of a streamlined,
when we played Ankh the other day, I thought to myself, Ankh is kind of like an overly produced Yellow and Yangtze.
Tammany Hall and Yellow and Yangtze have a baby.
Because you've got battles. You're trying to win battles and wars in this. There's some secret stuff behind your shield. It's kind of like area control-ish. There's a lot of. I felt like there was a lot of similarities.
Okay.
I don't know. I did.
I knew you liked this one. I didn't know. I'm a little surprised it's top 100 material for you. But
yeah, I love this one.
Hey, he's one of the best designers ever.
Well, even when we had that little convention that we did a couple weeks ago, I had this one on the list because I was hoping we were going to play it.
If Sid Saxton's the grandfather of modern gaming, Kinesia is the father of modern gaming. Right?
Yeah, I would say so.
So, I mean, it makes sense you've got him on your list. I think we'll see more from him. I'm guessing.
You definitely will. All right, Yellow and Yangtze. All right, number 94 is a game that was based on a game that came out previous to that. And what happened was one publisher picked it up and used another publisher's IP and put them together. And it's a drafting game where you're building something with somebody else, and you're building one to the right of you and one to the left of you.
Yes. Between two cities.
Yes, that's what it was based off of. Do you remember the new one?
This is the castles between two cities, or whatever it's called.
Between two castles of Mad King Levy. Right. This was the first time I'd ever seen a company like Stonemaier, who had Between Two Cities, right?
Yeah.
They used that and Bezier games with Castles of Mad King Levy. I'd never seen this before. Where they both like partnered and made a game together.
I think I think it'd be good to see more of this going forward.
I think so too.
Because it feels like you could combine the best of both worlds. You can take the great minds behind multiple companies and put those heads together and hopefully come up with something better. And it will show that like we get along in the hobby. So I feel like it would be a good sign if there's a lot of companies that are able to kind of cross-promote and work together in the future.
Yeah, I don't think you're that high on this one.
No, I mean, I've only played it once or twice.
Yeah.
So I'm hesitant to really like, dump on it because, I need to play it more to really be articulate as to what I thought of it. And I like the idea behind it better than I like the game of it. Like the idea of sort of semi-cooperatively working together with your partners, even though there's only one winner, is a cool idea.
This uses Kinetia scoring too.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, because you take your 2 castles and your lower one is your score.
Okay, that's
this
right.
This uses Kinetia scoring. See? It pops up everywhere.
Yeah, you like this one definitely more than me. This is not top 100 material for me.
You like drafting games, though.
I do. I like drafting games.
I like drafting. And the one thing that's really great about drafting games is you can play with huge player counts, and it never slows the game down.
Yes.
Same with this.
Yeah.
I think it plays to 7 players, and I've played a 7-player of this before. And or maybe it's 6, whatever it is, the max player count. It goes to 6 or 7. And when you play with that many players, it doesn't change it doesn't make the game longer. And this is one of those 60-minute games that feels like a much bigger game by the time you're done with it.
Yeah, like a more epic
And I like
experience.
the feeling of building things and the thematic aspects of the rooms. Like you don't want to have a napping room next to the music room.
Right.
You get
it's intuitive.
Yeah. So that's what I love drafting. I love building things. I don't know. It's pretty.
No, I do like.
And that's really the semi-cooperative aspect.
Yeah.
I love the fact that
that's the part that's innovative.
You're
here.
drafting these tiles and you're going, this one's probably scoring better. I gotta get this one up. So let me use the better tile for this one. This one I'll schmooze a little bit on it.
Yeah.
And then you pass the tiles and you go to the player next to you. You're like, hey, I just passed you something really good. You better play that one next turn. Wink.
On my side, not on your other side. On this side.
You better play this on our castle next time.
Or else.
Right. So So this is one that we differ a little bit on. But
yeah, it's not a top 100 contender for me. But if a group is playing it, I'd be happy to play it. And we've talked about that before with games. How there's that tier above that. There's that I crave this game, and then there's like I'll play it if people are playing it.
Yep.
And that's how this one is for me. I'm never going to like crave a play of this.
Yeah.
But if the group's playing it, I'll be happy to play it. And like you said, it could be a big group, which is nice.
But you do need a gamers for this. You're not going to be able to play this. This is not
a gateway.
It's not even. It might even be one step past the next step game. Unless you just played between 2 cities with them, then you might. But there's a lot of special abilities, and every building does something different.
I feel like the time would lag if you were teaching it to people who weren't really kind of into gaming and understood. Even the concept of drafting is unique to non-gamers.
Yep.
So.
Well, number 93 coming up here is a game that when I made my list last time, which was like 7 years ago, I did an official video for my top 100. This game was, I think it was 10 or 11. It was my highest placed worker placement game. And this is going to be easy. It's a worker placement game that can be directly combative, like blowing up other people's buildings. And there's a trilogy of these games, and this was the first one of them.
Wow, I'm feeling a little brain dead right now.
Oh, good. And this was one of the first games that really made popular different types of workers, like engineers, contractors.
I know what this is. Manhattan Project.
So it'd be interesting. Let me know in the comments if you're getting some of these hints and you're playing along with me.
I haven't played all 3 in the trilogy. I think that's why it didn't click for me right away. There's Energy Empire. And then, what's the third one?
Manhattan Project 2 Minutes to Midnight. That's like a 3-hour version of this.
I don't think I've played that one.
No, you haven't.
Which is why I didn't
really
think
loved
of it
that.
as a trilogy.
Energy Empire was my least favorite, but it's most people's favorite.
Yeah.
It was 2 just dry Euro for me.
Okay.
This one has a lot of thematics to it as well. But the
blowing
third
up
one,
each other's
the third one's
planes
the
and
biggest
stuff.
one. It's the longest one, and there's the most going on, and I really love it, but it's just so long.
Overstays its welcome for you a little bit.
The problem is when you play with more players on that version, you have to play the quote-unquote long game or it's too short. You can't get enough done.
Okay.
So it's probably and the other thing is there's so much interaction that it's not one that you could play easy with 2. You need at least 3.
Right.
So you're in it for 2.5, easy.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just a little too long. This one's not short either. It's a good 90 minutes.
I would guess 90.
It's a good 90.
From what I remember.
At least. But it's good.
This is another one that I would play any time if the group is playing it. I remember really enjoying it. I never picked it up. I haven't played it a ton of times, but it's a solid design. Now that you say it, it doesn't surprise me that it's on your list. I don't know if I would have predicted it if I was like coming up with your top 100.
It was at like 11. That's how much I used to like this. And the reason why it fell so much is just because it's so long.
Yeah.
I have just not played it as much.
And sometimes when you haven't played a game for a while, they just drop. It's just natural for them to kind of drop down your list because it helps you realize, yes, I like this, but if I'm not making sure it's getting to the table, then clearly there's other things I like more.
Yeah, it's true.
And sometimes it's just
but
the
still,
length.
if anybody was like, "Oh, what's this Manhattan Project game? I like to try it," I'd be like, "Yeah, let's do it." Like that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But it's not one that's not gonna be like the first one I go and like, you gotta play this because I've played it so many times.
Right.
But I love the different workers.
Yeah, that's a cool
thing. The fact that you can go to like the espionage and use other people's buildings.
Yeah.
The fact that you can put contractors on their buildings so they can't use it and then they have to pull those off and then you go there again. Like, it's mean.
Yeah, it's mean. Which is
funny because most people probably think watching my videos that I'm not mean when I play games. It's like the only part of my life I am mean.
It's like they don't know you because some of our very favorite games that I expect to be in your top 20 are extremely mean.
Yeah, it's like my vacation from real life where I get to play like mean.
Yes. You get all your road rage out at the game table.
Totally. So yeah, there's Manhattan Project number 93. All right, number 92 is based on a mechanism that's not used in a lot of games, but many of us love it and would love to see it in more mechanisms. It's the mechanism you find in Machi Koro, where you roll a dice and everybody gets to do something. But this is the biggest gamer game and what is widely known as the best game in this genre. This is a pretty slam dunk, right?
Space Base?
Yeah.
As soon as you said Machikoro, I thought Space Base.
Yeah, there's only like 4 others, maybe.
I don't know. Look, people love Machikoro. Don't hate me in the comments. I don't know why anyone would play Machikoro over Space Base.
Space Base is a gamer's game. Machikoro you can play with anyone.
Yeah, I don't think Space Base is that big of a.
I
guess
there's a lot
of those more advanced cards.
There's way more going on.
But you
get the charging cards and the cubes and how does this work? There's way more going on here.
It's just so much better, though. It's worth it.
It is.
It's worth it.
But then you take something like Foodies or over there, My Farm Shop, which is like in between the two.
My Farm Shop's great.
It is.
Ooh, that's a good question.
But
I wonder if My Farm Shop's going to be higher.
Space Base is awesome.
Yeah.
You have this, right?
I do.
Didn't you get the expansion?
I got the
Pluto
campaign,
one?
but I haven't delved into it yet.
I heard that like it's a quote-unquote campaign, but like you could really just add the stuff in.
I think it's more just like teaching you more mechanics as you go along.
Yeah.
Is my understanding. And I'm excited to jump into that because my wife and I played Space Base a lot, just the two of us. And it works great at 2 as well.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a deck builder-ish thing, like because you're buying the cards.
Well, you have to know kind of when to pivot because you start using spots to put points in instead of having special abilities. That part feels very deck buildery. I mean, that's one of the major aspects of Dominion. One of the major like strategies you have to understand is when is it time?
You mean Snorinian?
Oh my gosh, Dan, we might have to cut production. I don't know if I can be in the same room.
I know
someone who doesn't appreciate Dominion.
I am in a minority of not liking Dominion.
Well,
it's so boring.
I think when you started your channel, it was already 5 years old or 6 years old, and a lot of other deck builders had come out as well. So that might be part of it.
That also aren't very good.
But the first, am I allowed to flip you off on this?
Yes. No, this is a kid's show.
This is family friendly. I mean, I remember Dominion came out. It blew us up. This whole idea of deck building, I'd never seen it before. It was incredible. But I digress. The reason I compare it to Space Base, I would not normally, but you mentioned that idea of pivoting.
Yeah,
and
buying
that's
the point
a big
cards.
element of Dominion 2. Is sort of I've milked this mechanism as long as I can, and now it's time to just grab some points. I've got some money, I've got some actions, I'm ready to roll.
Yeah.
And Space Base is very much that way.
Yeah.
And there's been times where you kind of, if you mess that up, it could really like torpedo your game of Space Base for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's number 92. We're getting ready to do the last one coming up right now. All right, so for the last one of this, number 91 coming up here, is a game, it's not a well-known game, so it's probably not going to be easy for so many of you out there to guess this, so this is going to be sort of an inside little thing. This is a pure negotiation game where you're trying to have the most money, trying to run businesses. We recently played it at our big little convention there.
Yeah.
And you're trying to influence people to consume things in industries that you own synergies in.
Corporate America.
Corporate America. This was much higher on this list before we played it last time.
Okay, so
Because it was such a weird play.
it's still you're in your top 100, so clearly you love this game.
Yes.
So now explain why it's dropped for you. You're not saying it's bad,
we had
obviously.
like a really weird play where like people would flip over a card,
Yeah.
and it just happened to have been the card that they owned synergies of business in,
Yeah.
and nobody could give them enough money to say no.
Maybe we were a little stingy this time
But
around.
I think maybe we should have gone and said something like, "Hey, you're gonna get 21. I'll give you 15, and you might get it again, or you
Yeah.
might get something else that makes you money."
Yeah.
But nobody else. We should have all like been like, "Hey, you give 3, you give 3, you give 3."
Problem is, we'd already played so many cutthroat games that weekend
That's true.
as friends that I think we were just not in any mood to like work together. And so we all just kind of sat back and went like, fine, do what you want to do.
that might
Spend
be
your
it.
own money.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's always the case with these games that are very open mechanically, is you get weird plays to them occasionally. And you can either hold that against it or say, hey, I like the open sandboxy feel of this. It's very group dependent. This
Yeah.
game could completely fail with the wrong group.
Yeah.
And some of my favorite games are that way.
Well,
I
yeah.
played them with the wrong people. Not that they're bad, but that it's just that game and that person don't click.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this game stinks with the wrong people.
Because if a game, a lot of times for a game to be special, it kind of has to be polarizing. Like people
Yeah.
are gonna love it or hate it because it needs that type of reaction.
Yeah.
Games that people are like, it's okay. Those are forgettable. That's what we call
Yeah,
forgettable.
forgettable,
Those
absolutely.
are games that we don't remember. They're not on our shelves because they're just fine.
That's almost kind of like, we say mass market. That's almost kind of like the idea of mass market, of just like, this is just something to do with your family or with your friends,
Yeah.
versus a game like this that's absolutely, even the theme is somewhat polarizing. I mean,
Yeah.
and some of the businesses that you run and stuff are kind of like R-rated almost and stuff. And so it's not going to appeal to everybody. But if you like a cutthroat, very open negotiation kind of style game where you can, mess over your neighbor and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
this is a great choice.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. There's the first, actually 11 in this case. Later this week, I'm going to be putting out my version of the 90 through 81. This will be when I explain the games, give you some more details of the games, tell you what I think about them, and then we'll be back a few days after that to do this again with that 10. This has been the Game Boy Geek, and
Greg Dickson, thanks for having me. That was fun.
yeah, we'll be back next time. See you
Thanks
later.
for watching.
Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table to a high-quality gaming solution, they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with their amazing, thematic, premium stitch edge mats from noted board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and really cool accessories, it's a complete system that upgrades every game you play. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below.